Hello, everyone. I'm your digital host, Tatiana White, and welcome back to another episode of 48's digital show, This Month Matters. August is National Back to School Month, and while many students are getting ready to head back into the classroom, one North Alabama student is preparing for an exciting new chapter after making history. Earlier this year, Lela Moser became Scottsboro High School's first Black valedictorian in the school's 132-year history. Along with earning that incredible honor, she's also a seven-time state track and field champion and accomplished scholar, and soon she'll begin studying engineering at Auburn University. Lela joins us today to reflect on her journey, talk about what's next, and share some encouragement for students as they head back to school. So how are you doing today, Lela?
I'm doing well. I'm in middle of preparing for school, so
Yes.
I'm
Yep.
excited.
That is so exciting, freshman year. And I know you're going to have a great time. It's always great your first year going to college. So, and so, first of all, I just want to start by saying congratulations on becoming the first Black valedictorian. That is such a huge honor. And over 132 years, that is so amazing. So, congratulations to you on that.
Thank you.
Yes. And so, for people who may not know like your story, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and just this incredible year you've had becoming the Scottsboro High School's first Black valedictorian?
Yes, I can elaborate on that. I am Lela Moser, and I am the fourth child of five children. And so I come from a really big family. I have three brothers and one sister. Um, I would say that my experience in school, sometimes my journey could feel kind of lonely because most of the time I was the only African American or student of color in the most rigorous classes. So that was kind of a barrier in my learning because it made me feel isolated and it made me feel like my dreams were unobtainable. But with all that, I found a way to achieve and persevere through adversity. So I'm really happy that I was able to do that because I know some people, if they were in my shoes, they would feel like it was impossible to achieve their goals. But I'm really glad that I can be a representative for others and help them and inspire them to achieve their goals as well.
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like you inspired so many people just to know that they can reach their goals and no matter what circumstances they're under. And I know that that probably inspired so many people. And I know even here at our station, a lot of us were inspired and we've already gone through high school, but it was still just so inspiring, your story. And when you found out that you were becoming Scottsboro High School's first African American valedictorian in the 132-year history, what was going through your mind, like when you found out that you were going to be making that kind of history? Because that is huge.
Um, I would say that becoming valedictorian was my goal since around 10th grade. So I felt really like my hard work had paid off because that was my ultimate goal in high school. It made me feel like I could achieve anything and anything is possible because, like I said, in my moments in high school, I felt like my dreams were unobtainable because I felt isolated and I felt like I had not really a blueprint of what to be. So I was really, really grateful that I could achieve this, and it made me feel like my hard work would pay off no matter what I do. So that's how I felt.
Yes, and it definitely did pay off. And I feel like you just are the epitome of showing that no matter what circumstances you're under, like, no, if you just keep working towards your goal, you will make it somewhere. And beyond like just getting that valedictorian title, what does this accomplishment mean to you, just like personally?
Besides the title, I feel like it extends beyond myself. I feel like with the title, I am able to be an example for others. I feel like if I'm uplifting others, then I am achieving greatness, I guess, because inspiring others is a big part of who I am. And I feel like being able to do that is just amazing because I didn't have anyone to look up to in my situation. So I feel like me being the person that can help others and inspire others is just a wonderful feeling because, it's kind of hard when you don't have an example to look up to or a blueprint of what to be.
Yeah, and it is definitely very hard if you don't have someone, especially like you mentioned, like representation or just something to have some type of guidance to figure out how to do it. So it's so amazing that you still figured it out and you kind of created a blueprint now for somebody else that may look like you in the future. And how has it, speaking of that, how has being valedictorian, how has it made you view yourself or the impact that you're hoping to have on others, especially little girls or young boys who may look like you? How do you hope your journey will impact them?
I hope that my journey, for one, influences them to be okay with stepping into uncomfortable positions because, some people are against that. And I feel like you never know what you can achieve if you don't try. Because, you know, if you step out and put yourself in positions, then, it opens many opportunities and opens doors.
Yeah, it does. And I know, like, for sure, success like yours does not happen overnight. I know you probably had to go through a lot. And so, what would you say, like, helped you reach this point, like, academically? Like, what did you have to kind of do to get the motivation? Because I know there were probably nights where you're like, I want to go to a football game or I want to do, something else. And so, what kind of just encouraged you to keep going and, like, helped you reach where you are?
Um, for one, I would say motivation is definitely fleeting. So self-discipline plays a big role in me achieving what I've achieved. And I'd had to be okay with missing out on some opportunities and not trying to fit in because when I feel like when you focus on trying to do what others are doing, then you lose your goal, your side of your goal.
Yeah, and I feel like that's so good and like honestly very mature for, a teenager because I know it can get very easy to just get like pushed into, oh, okay, well my friends are going to the games. I'll just skip out on studying or whatever. I'll get it done whenever. So, I love that you were just still motivated to keep going and you knew that you had a goal at the end that you wanted to reach and you got there and beyond that point as well. So, and when there were days, because I'm sure, becoming valedictorian, it takes a lot. And so whenever school started feeling overwhelming, what did you do? What type of coping mechanisms or just ways did you keep yourself going? And what advice would you give for other students who may go into the school year feeling a bit overwhelmed and not knowing how to maybe time manage or, things like that?
What helped me the most is exercising. I know exercising has many benefits. It helps me clear my mind, running track. It was just a moment for me to actually take my mind off the school and just feel like myself and not worry about any of my um, rigorous courses or any of that. I would say that definitely know your limits. I feel like some people would try to take too many classes just because they want to look a certain way for like maybe college or whatever, but know your limits and know what you're capable of because only you know what you're capable of, you know. So definitely working out helped and I could say
Yeah, and I love that you said that, like knowing your limits, because nobody knows more than yourself. And so just listening to your own, like, mind and body, like, whatever you're able to do and whatever you're able to handle, because you don't want to overdo it. And then now you're like failing because you can't give enough attention to all the classes that are now on your plate. So, yeah. And did you have like any teachers or mentors, coaches, family members, anybody that played a role in helping you succeed, that just kind of helped push you to get to where you are?
I would say that I had a former boss. So I struggled financially a lot in school, so it made me feel even more isolated than my skin color did because I saw so many students having these opportunities that I didn't get to have. I mean, I was dealing with more than just school. So I feel like that's where I really tried to aim my success or my achievement to overcoming obstacles because, like I said, I struggled financially a lot in school and it made me feel isolated and it made me feel like my dreams were impossible. So I had a former boss who reached out to me because she knew some of the hardships that I was facing, especially with senior year. It's really expensive, college applications, senior fees, and all of that. She reached out to me and she told me that she would do her best to help facilitate any of my needs, and that really that really transcended my senior year because it was a hard time, like, like I said, senior fees and all of that and paying that and having a single mother who tried her best, but sometimes, finances are their finances. But so my boss, my former boss, she helped pay for most of my things and alleviated some of the burdens that finances were placing on me my senior year.
Yeah, and I love that you have her, and I'm sure she will definitely be there along the way for Auburn as well. And I loved, speaking of your financial journey and everything you went through, I loved your valedictorian speech. Like, it was so beautiful, so well spoken, just so well written. And you talked a lot about like being different and overcoming stereotypes, lacking representation, and how you didn't let that discourage you, but instead you let it motivate you. And one thing I really love that you said in there was sometimes the strongest testimony is not found in success itself, but it's found in rather overcoming that struggle that it took to get there, and refusing to let those circumstances define you. And I was like, okay, I was like, yes, Lela. I was like, this is so good. And I feel like so many people can relate to that. I know that I definitely can, not financial wise, but just like, family things and things that, may have been going on in my life, and not letting those circumstances define me or stop me. And I know everybody probably has some little thing in there that they feel like is stopping them. But can you just talk a little bit more about that part of your speech and what you hope students going back to school can just take away from that, about not letting their difficult circumstances stop them or define them?
I feel like many people limit themselves or by what's going on in their lives. Like anything can happen in your life, and you will feel like it's not possible for you to achieve anything. But I feel like with self-discipline and hard work, anything's possible. If you want something, you can achieve it as long as you work hard enough for it. Don't let anything in your life stop you from achieving your goals. That was my main motive in my speech because I had so many life circumstances that made me feel like my dreams were impossible. And I try to reframe that into saying I'm possible instead of impossible. So I want students to know that whatever they want to achieve is very possible for them, no matter what's going on in their life, and that they can achieve anything, achieve greatness, success, all of it. So,
Yeah, and I think sometimes people need that reminder too, because I think sometimes you can get really in the depths of whatever you're going through, and it just starts to feel like you're not motivated anymore. And it's like, I'm going to always be in this situation and there's no way out. So, knowing that there's examples like you out there that shows that there is a light at the end of the tunnel as long as you keep your eyes on the goal and you keep going and not letting, like you said, your circumstances define you. And you weren't just focused on, academics. You talked a little bit about being a standout athlete as well. And so, how did you balance like all of those things? I know you had school, you had track, family, and then of course still making time for yourself and your own hobbies. So, how did you balance all of that? And what advice do you give for other students trying to balance all those different things?
I would say time management definitely plays a big role in anything that you do. So, you have to manage your time and know when to dedicate time to a certain thing, like if it's sports or if it's athletic or sports or schoolwork or whatever. And so I really just I made myself schedules every day and I dedicated certain times for this, like for schoolwork or if it was like practice or training, gym, whatever. So I would say that one, know your limits, and two, manage your time wisely because you only have so much time in the day to accomplish tasks. And yes.
Yeah, I will say I agree. Time management is so important, and just being able to like stay consistent and like prioritizing as well, like prioritizing which is more important, things to do. So maybe that day, like you have a big test coming up, and so that's probably a little more important than whatever hobby you might have going on. So I think definitely prioritizing, and like you said, that time management is so key and important. And did you also have like any routines or habits or study techniques that really helped you stay organized and kept you going? Because I know sometimes people have a hard time just even figuring out something to help them stay on routine or study or just be able to prepare as best as they can for whatever they're working on in school.
I'd say I'm a very organized student, so me studying, I would just basically I would sit down and do what I had to do, like if it was homework or if it was an assignment or a project, I would just devote my time to that. And I guess my best study technique would be flashcards because I feel like, I don't know, I just learn better with like memory, puzzles, and all of that. So I would use a lot of flashcards and also reading. Reading is one aspect of my life that I've had forever or I love to engage in. So I read a lot and I would say so flashcards and reading helped me a lot along the way.
Yeah, and I know reading can also just be a good escape as well to just being able to take your mind away from, all the struggles that may be going on in your life or at school. And like you said, flashcards are so helpful. I know they were definitely helpful for me because I would like, if I didn't have anybody to study with, you can always still study by yourself with flashcards. Like, I feel like that's one of the easiest ways to be able to study alone. So and a lot of students, and you also talked about your struggle with this as well, as just like feeling the need to maybe be perfect or have everything together. And so, how do you handle that pressure, and how would you, say other students advice on how they can handle pressure to just feel like everything has to be, perfect or done the best way?
Like you just have to know that perfectionism is not really, it's temporary and perfectionism is unachievable. You can't be perfect in everything. That's just a idea that is impossible almost. So I kind of just logically thought, oh, you can't be perfect in everything, Layla. You can try your best, but that doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. So I always told myself nothing has to be perfect. I just have to do the best that I can do because I know what I'm capable of.
Yeah, and you can only do what you can. And so, and I think that's even something I'm still learning is that everything will not be perfect. And I know I love having like a plan and everything and itineraries and stuff, but I'm like, everything is not going to always go exactly step one to step 10, just like that. So just understanding that, whatever path you're meant to be on, it's going to be whatever you're meant to do. So. And let's transition a little to your athletic journey. So, you are a 7-time state champion and you helped your relay team break school and state records, which is amazing. You're like an all star student. And so, how was being an athlete like shaped who you are, like outside of sports? Because I know sports can teach a lot of lessons and things like that that help and translate into your personal life and into school. So, how would you say like being an athlete shaped who you are? And what lessons do you feel like track will help you with, like those lessons that you'll carry into college and beyond?
I feel like athleticism has definitely shaped my self-discipline because I had to be very disciplined in my workouts, my running, and it also helped me realize how important time is because if I don't know if you know, but time in track is very essential. So it helped me manage my time well and made me learn the importance of that. I would feel like I would say I kind of equated like my ability in track to my ability in school. I was like, if I can do this workout for however many hours or whatever, then I'm able to devote that much time to studying. So I kind of equated it as like a balance or like a parallel to my school ability.
Yeah, that's a really good way to do that. I like that thinking because I feel like I didn't do like sports or anything, but that was something I used to do. Like, I used to be like, if I can hang out with my friends for like an hour, I can at least dedicate a little bit of time to look at some flashcards or read the textbook or homework or whatever. So I love that. That's a really good piece of advice. And you're about to begin a very exciting journey, starting as a freshman, a new chapter at Auburn University. And so, how are you feeling just as move in day gets closer?
I am, like I said it like before, I am very, very excited. I am excited to see what college has in store for me and the opportunities and the doors that will open for me in my future career. I'm looking forward to their engineering program the most because I'm going to be an aerospace engineer. So I am looking to see what opportunities and doors open for me along the way.
That's awesome. So, what made engineering the path that you wanted to pursue, and what do you hope to kind of do with that career?
As a child, I mean, Huntsville has the Space and Rocket Center, so I visited the Space and Rocket Center very frequently. So I fell in love with rockets and science and all of that. And also, I would say the movie Hidden Figures has played an eminent role in my decision to become an aerospace engineer. I watched that movie like maybe 20 times in my life. So um, just seeing Black women overcome obstacles like Katherine Johnson and those women played a very, very prominent role in my decision to become an aerospace engineer because it made me reflect on my experience as a high school student being in a predominantly white institution and overcoming obstacles as well.
Yes, that is so awesome. And you're going to do great. I feel like with whatever you do, you're going to do so many great things, especially with that career. And again, being that motivation for other young women and being the new generation of Hidden Figures. And I know it can be very exciting, but also maybe some nerves can come with it. So, what are you most excited about? And then maybe even a little nervous about when it comes to going to college?
I'd say I'm most excited about the freedom that comes with going to college. You know, it's an opportunity for you to explore who you really are as a person without the constraints of your life situation at home or maybe even your parents and their limitations. But I'm also nervous about, maybe I'm just scared of saying goodbye to the people that are still here. I'm really sad that I have to say goodbye to them because, you know, I have some of my lifelong friends in this town and I'm just, I don't know how I'm going to handle this.
Yeah, I definitely understand. I felt the same way when I went off to college. I was so excited. I was like, I get to be on my own, like there's no rules. So it was just very exciting. And then, like you said, though, it is very sad when you leave the place that you've grown up at and the place that you're used to. But I know Auburn is going to have so many great opportunities, and anybody is lucky to be your friend or your peer, classmate, all of that. So you're going to do great. And since it is National Back to School Month, there are students, who are watching, who are preparing for that brand new school year. So, what advice would you give them going into the school year? Maybe a freshman in high school or middle school student, just anyone, or anybody also too preparing for senior year of high school since you just experienced that.
I would say that always think about your future. Um, High school is what you make of it. So whatever you put into your 4 years, you will get back and you will see the results of that, especially your senior year. So if you have any goals, I would say be thinking about those as you choose what classes you're taking or just for any goal that you have setting for yourself in high school or any school year for that matter. I would say don't worry about fitting in because fitting in, nobody's gonna really remember like what you or none of it's going to matter outside of high school, like whatever trends you're trying to follow or whatever. I would say be okay with standing out and
I definitely agree. I feel like, it's so easy to want to like fit in, especially freshman year. I think, you want to make high school like what you see in the movies and all that stuff, but it is not like that. And, I know I'm like, I don't know, maybe 8 years or so removed from high school. And I know I don't really remember half of what people wore, the trends, any of that stuff. So I just remember like the motivation, like you said, of knowing that I wanted bigger goals. And I knew that high school was just only that stepping stone. But, you're going off to college or if you're going to trade school or whatever you end up doing, like that's really where your goals kind of start to happen more. But high school's that stepping stone. And for students who may be having that like anxiety before school, like that, before the first day of school, or like doubting themselves or wondering if they're going to be able to achieve their goals, what advice would you give to them to just encourage them?
um, I would say that no one knows what you're capable except for you. So don't really worry about the pressure that you may feel from others' expectations. Set your own expectations and your own goals and just be confident that you can achieve them. I feel like confidence plays a big role in what I've been able to do. So I would say be confident and trust yourself and just know your limits.
Yeah, and I feel like those are two very big things is knowing your limits and trusting yourself because I feel like nobody knows you more than you and what you can handle and what is overwhelming you or anything like that. So just being able to know yourself is probably the biggest key, like you said. So and for students entering high school, what's one thing that you wish that you had or somebody had told freshman Layla that you would give to a freshman high and going into high school?
I feel like I'm thinking of back like 100 years from now. I wish someone would have told me that. I mean, it is okay to sometimes like um, put the schoolwork aside and go and out and enjoy life because I feel like I devoted most of myself and tied myself and my self-worth into what I could do in school. So I feel like I wish someone would have told me that it's okay to sometimes not just be only about school.
Yeah, and that's so important. It's just, still living and having that balance. But I know sometimes it can get hard because you're trying to just make sure that you do the best that you can and reach those goals so you can get into a good college and stuff. But the good thing is you're going to college, so you'll still have time to go and it'll be even more fun, football games and all of that great stuff. So you still have some time. And your uncle, Sam McCamey, he helped integrate Scottsboro schools, and now you've made history there yourself. And so, when you reflect on your family's journey, what does that mean to you that you've added onto that history?
Like I've said before, I feel like it was a full circle moment. My uncle, he basically made sacrifices for me to be able to achieve what I have achieved. And I just feel like it was a full circle moment and it was so wholesome. But it was a very wholesome moment and it just made me realize how far we've come as a community or as a nation, my uncle integrating and then to me now being the first Black valedictorian, it just shows that also that the community has a long ways to go for progression and yes.
Yeah, and it was just so amazing being able to even hear your story when we first heard of it and like just seeing that like from generation to generation, like your uncle starting that and then you being able to kind of pick up where he left off and it's like he became a little bit of that blueprint, you became another blueprint for someone else and it's just going to keep trickling down like a domino effect. And what do you hope, speaking of that, that younger students, especially young girls that are like yourself or young students who see themselves in your story, what do you hope that they take away from your journey? What blueprint are you hoping to create for them?
I hope that younger people see that there is no impossibility as long as they are able to work and have self-discipline and persevere through adversity to get where they want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's one thing that you are excited about and that you're looking forward to experiencing as a college freshman? Are you excited about the engineering classes, the football games, dorm life? Like, what are you excited about?
I'm excited for one, the football games because, college games are on another scale from high school games.
Yeah.
I'm also excited to see the opportunities that the student organizations have. I'm excited to see like if I can take on any leadership roles as a college freshman. And yes.
Yes, I know. I'm so excited to see what you end up accomplishing. And I know you're going to do so many great things. And I know there's going to be a lot of opportunities, especially as big as Auburn is. And so I know you'll be able to do a lot of things and they'll offer a lot of things for you to do. And so hopefully you will be able to get some of those leadership roles or get into some different organizations and just things to kickstart off, your young adult life. And what goal do you have, and what do you want to accomplish by the end of college, or just in life? Like, what are you hoping that you accomplish, and other things that you can add onto all the amazing success that you already have?
I hope that for one, that I've obtained my aerospace engineering degree, and I hope that I am able to find a financially stable career for myself. I feel like that would make really a great difference because compared to my life now, struggling with financial hardships, that's one of my goals in life. I hope that I can say I have no regrets about any of the things that I've done in the 4 years that I'm at Auburn.
Yes, absolutely. And I hope that you reach all the success that you want to reach. And I know that you will do absolutely great things. And is there anything else that you want to add about your story or any last piece of advice that I maybe didn't ask you?
I think you've asked pretty much everything, so
Yes.
I don't know. I can't think of anything right now.
Yes. Okay. Well, congratulations again on everything that you've accomplished. And I'm wishing you the very best as you begin this next chapter at Auburn. And I know you're just going to do absolutely amazing. You've already done so much so far. And I know your family is so proud of you. And so thank you again for joining me today. It was such an honor. And I'm just so glad that I got the opportunity to talk to you.
Thank you so much for having me and for this opportunity. I hope
Yes.
you have a nice day.
Yes, thank you. And thank you all for watching this episode of This Month Matters. To all of the students, parents, and educators getting ready for a new school year, we hope this conversation serves as a reminder that hard work, determination, and believing in yourself can take you farther than you ever imagined. Happy National Back to School Month, and thank you all again for tuning in, and I will see you all on the next episode of This Month Matters.